He's an 8-time Louisiana Association of Broadcasters Award winner. And he snapped a ball through his legs.
Wait, why does your name get to go first?
Shut up.
This is Scone T.
Because they made us. Oh, it's the camera on? My bad, dude. I was just
welcome
handing.
Welcome into Scone T.
Off.
From Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge.
My computer charger.
Glad to have you aboard with us. If you're watching live on YouTube, Facebook, listening on demand or watching on demand, thank you for being here. Matt Moscona, T-Bob Hebert from Oliver Twist in Baton Rouge. Tigers are 4-1, and they got a top 10 team in the country coming into Tiger Stadium for an 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday. We're going to talk a lot about it here over the next hour. I do not want to go any further without first talking about 2010. I feel it is your obligation to this show to discuss this in details that I would like to discuss and elaborate upon. So I'm sure in your life you have shared the 2010 LSU-Tennessee story a bajillion times.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've had a lot of recent memories pop up, though. I've been talking about it so much this week.
I totally believe that. And the more people you talk to about it, different people will probably jog different memories of different things.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, all right, I want to ask specifically about not – because everyone automatically defaults to the last sequence because we've all seen the replay a bajillion times. Yeah. What else do you remember about the game, the day, everything else about that maybe week or weekend?
Sorry, I'm not being rude. I'm okay. Here we go. I'm drinking the Kramer. I've been looking for the flyer the whole time for the drink. Cocktail of the week, Cobb Smoke Kramer.
Oh, dude, the light just went to look at how he looks. It's super red in here, man.
Let me tell you the tale of a man in over his head. No,
Well, he was a sax man from the state of Tennessee.
So here's what I remember, is that it was a game in which we believed that Tennessee was awful. I'm trying to think what our games had been up to that point, right? We had that was the
2010 LSU opened it with North Carolina.
Started with UNC, very sketchy. We got out of there alive. Horrible holding call me that fucked it up. What do we have next? Was there anything that was this the next? Was this the second test of the season?
You were after North Carolina at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. That was like a nothing game.
It was like 27-3. Home against Mississippi State, which you all won 27-9. Then you played the West Virginia game where Pat Pete did the Heisman pose.
Oh, I didn't realize the West Virginia game was that early.
That was 2010, yeah.
I knew it was 2010.
Yep. And then the next week was Tennessee.
And then was it Florida after that?
And then Florida, which was the Terrence Tolliver catch.
Yeah, my favorite game ever.
The bounce pass.
Okay, so I remember at the time, we felt like we should have beat UNC worse. So even though that maybe wasn't our best showing, we're feeling pretty confident in that. We had handled the other SEC teams. West Virginia was a battle. I mean, it was close. But I don't remember ever feeling like particularly stressed in it, if that makes any sense.
No, it wasn't. The final score in that game was 20-14.
Did they score late, maybe?
It wasn't a close game.
Okay, I didn't think it felt like one. So the point was, I do think we came into Tennessee feeling a little fat and cocky, right? I think Tennessee was like 2-2 at the time or something. Like, they were bad. We knew that they were bad. And yeah, I mean, and then hell, dude, first play of the game, Jordan goes fucking 80 yards
right
for
at
a
the gut.
touchdown.
Right
Superman celebration, dude. A little zone read, made the safety miss, bam, house call. And it's like, okay, dude, we're good. We got it. And then
you didn't score again until the last play.
Yeah, no,
you scored on the first play and the last play.
It's the best trivia fact about that game. The only time you scored a touchdown, the literal first and literal last plays of the game. Plays from scrimmage, I guess, not kickoff. So what's wild, Matt, is the middle is this almost swirling blank amalgam of like frustration. Like there's not a lot of detail to me from the middle of the game. I remember like every time we would get something going, we would fuck it up and turn it over. I don't remember all the turnovers. I think there were like 4 or something. But the only one I really remember...
There were 3 picks and a fumble.
Okay.
It was heinous. You all put up 434 yards.
Yeah, because we were moving the ball.
Absolutely.
Like Ridley was running all over him, and Jay Lee was throwing it down the field sometimes.
Ridley finished with 22 carries for $123.
Yeah.
And Jay Lee was 16 of 23 for $185. That was still when Jordan and Jarrett
numbers back then too.
Were rotating. It was weird how they did that, or how y'all did that.
Literally, Jarrett came in. Okay, so I do remember at the end. I think the fourth turnover, maybe it was the fourth one, but I think that the one that I remember the most is maybe at the end, and we were driving, and we threw like a pick in the corner of the end zone. And maybe that was the first time where I was kind of like, fuck, like, is this like about to happen? Like, are we really fucking this up that badly? And give me the details as to what happened right before our last drive started. Because my memories kick in about halfway through our last drive.
So,
let me see the drive.
Tennessee turned it. LSU threw the pick. That's the one you were talking about.
Oh, so that did happen late in the game. Under 2 minutes. Oh, God, it felt awful, dude. It felt so bad.
Then Tennessee went for it on a 4th and 1.
Yeah. Oh, we saw.
At the LSU 31.
They were trying to end it.
They were trying to end it, and LSU gets the stop on 4. See, there's a lot of shit like that. You don't get the stop; it's over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
yes.
It was a super fucking sketchy game with a team that had no business being in the game with you.
So let me preface everything I am talking about with this. See, I had even forgotten about that play. Look, I love.
Forgive me, it wasn't 30 seconds. It was 5:41 to go in the game, and then you all chewed up the rest of the clock.
Okay, yeah, it was like a million play drive.
Yeah, it was. That drive ended up. Excuse me. That drive ended up.
Not 18, but I want to say 13 maybe. I remember it's one of the longest I think we ever had in our career. Okay, but I'll preface it saying this while you look for that. I am so thankful to be remembered for something as cool as like winning a game. I want to be painfully clear that the role that I played in this was minuscule compared to like the actual plays, and then also like the contributions that literally everyone else made. Like, I had no idea there were 13 people on the field. The only thing that I was aware of is that the clock was running down, and even then, I was on the edge of snapping it too soon. Like, we barely got set, right? I mean, not that we had a play or anything, but the point is, like, it was a lot of blind luck that now I'm getting huge credit for, and I love that. Like, honestly, it's one of the coolest, most fun memories of my life. But as we're going to see during this story, there are much, much tougher and more valuable contributions that made this all a possibility. Down to that 4th and 1 stop, dude.
Not only that, but on this drive, you all had a 4th and 14.
Yeah, and they put Jay Lee in cold.
I know. Remember, like, that was the fucking weird thing. Like, when they needed a pass, if it was an obvious passing down, Lee went in the game just for like a play.
Some people telegraphed like with their tight end, like, oh, that's their blocking tight end. They're like, no, dude, that's a throwing quarterback, dude. I think they're going to throw the ball. Oh, my God, dude. So okay, that's a prime example of one of the plays I'm talking about. That Ridley getting mad at the goal line and still fighting his way in because somebody missed their block. On that final play, the 4th and 1 stop from the defense. Terrence Tolliver was on the receiving end of that 4th and 14. Like, the list goes on and on.
Reception.
There were multiple end game moments where it was do or die, and in classic Mad Hatter style, we just managed to do and never die.
That's so stupid.
Like, it's brinksmanship. It's like nuclear strategy. It's pushing yourself to the edge. How far can you go? Okay, so give me the start of the drive. Where do we start the drive? By the way, I was not playing center this entire game. I was at right guard the entire game.
So why did you go to center?
Because halfway through the final drive, PJ got hurt.
Oh, my God. All right, hang on. So what did you want
after the 4th and 1? What was the 4th and 1? That was like 5 minutes left in the game?
No, the stop, was 5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then where did we start at?
At the 31. At your own 31 with 5:35 to go.
Okay, a 1-yard loss, 8 yards.
Ridley for 8.
Okay, so we're just kind of running and throwing up the field. A little 4-minute
Ridley
offense.
for 11. Yeah, chewing up the clock.
So
you get to midfield.
At some point, we took a timeout when we crossed
Here it is
half
with
field.
127 to go.
Okay, 127 left. That's
third and 10 at the 34 at the Tennessee 34.
And so that takes you before the 4th and 14.
Yes.
Okay, so
it was the play before. So coming out of the timeout, you get incomplete, then you get a delay of game. Because of course LSU under Les Miles got a delay of game on 4th and 10.
Oh my God! Oh, that's incredible. So I remember the timeout because I remember the huddle being supremely confident despite the situation. I very much remember Josh Durasic kind of speaking to the team and being like, or to the group, the offense, being like, hey, let's fucking go. We got this shit. Let's score. And then I remember him and Russell Shepard started rapping Smoking on Purple by Lil Boosie, which we all loved and knew at the time, the Young Savage verse. And all of a sudden, during the timeout, the entire offense on the sideline was rapping the Young Savage verse of Smoking on Purple by Lil Boosie before he went back out there. So I remember, thinking back on that always surprised me. It was very confident setting. You were in the fight. You were not worried about failure. You were only worried about, what do I need to do in order to succeed? And it got fucking hairy on that 4th and 14. I think this is around the time when I started playing center. I'm not 100% sure. At some point, PJ went down with an ankle. I switched over. Williford came in. I believe it was already by that 4th and 14, so maybe the last minute and a half of the game. Whatever. I played center my entire life. Not a big deal. It's where I started the last year. And so then the drive continued. And then the next memory I have is where the, no surprise here, where the TV stuff starts, right? I remember being in the huddle. We called that running play with Jordan, and
you get stopped at the 1.
We did not. Now, hindsight is 20/20. I'm not going to lie and put on airs and say that, when we had the call in the huddle, I was like, wait, we need a follow-up call. Now, obviously, we should have, right? Basic football strategy dictates that if you were going to run the ball with no timeouts and about 30 seconds left, you need to have another call lined up in case you get tackled in bounds.
He snapped the ball with 23 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
So the second and goal play, Jordan Jefferson.
And that was off of a stopped clock, I believe,
yes,
right?
So on first down, Jarrett was in and threw an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
So then they bring in the running quarterback. Because the passing quarterback goes out. The running quarterback.
What's he going to do? Run!
So he ran the ball. It gets stopped at the 1.
But okay,
and it's a running clock now with 23 seconds.
The point of that is you had a full play clock previous to that.
And this is third down now, so it's
where you should have had a call and then a follow-up call. Now, I'm so in the fight, I'm just getting the call. I'm like, all right, let's go block the call, right? So all of a sudden, Jordan gets tackled in bounds. And you can see, if you ever hear, I think it's the ancient Greeks, Matt, or the ancient Romans, when they write about fear on the battlefield, and I think they call it phobos or something, and it kind of infects and spreads its tendrils through.
No, just focus. Just focus.
Watch that replay and watch the anxiety start to spread through that offense as everybody comes to grips with the fact that's a running clock, and we don't have a play, and the coaches, so we're just get them and the coaches are signaling in 5 wide. We're in goal line personnel, and they're signaling in, it's either 4 or 5 wide, a complete hockey line shift personnel change. And we don't have a play, and the clock is running. And so I'm looking at Jordan, I'm like, what the hell? He's like, get out, let's get out. And then I'll never forget, I remember looking up at the clock, and I saw there were 3 seconds left, and I saw it was running, and it was in A New Hope.
No,
I swear to God, I swear, dude, I swear to God here. When Obi-Wan pops up over Luke's shoulder, and he's like, use the Force. It was like Will Blackwell's head popped over my shoulder and was like, snap it, you fucking bitch. It wasn't as kind as Obi-Wan, but because the previous year at Ole Miss, we got tackled with 1 second left.
Yeah.
A lot of the same situation, a play or whatever, we had a play, but it was I waited for the ref to step off and then tried to wait till I heard the whistle, when later we were taught after that moment that, look, if you're ever in that situation, just snap it. Fuck the ref, fuck everything else, just snap the ball and kind of let the chips fall where they may. And Will likes to rib, and so the previous year he was ribbing on me for a while about it. And so in that moment, it literally I'm not joking. Like, that is what went through my head, and so I just snapped it. And then I saw, it went by Jordan because he was looking to the sideline trying to get a play. I thought we lost the game, and I slammed my helmet down in terrible anger.
All right, so I have a question. So I was sitting – so my seats were in 215, which is the north end zone.
Yeah.
So, I was about a third of the way up right there.
Yeah.
My nuts were splitting.
We were going into the north end zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
My nuts were splitting the left upright looking at this in front of me. This whole thing unfolded in front of me. And I saw what unfolded, and I remember watching you throw your helmet, and I thought, like, your helmet busted. Like, did you lose ear pads and shit?
Yeah, all that shit popped out.
So I thought about this for a while.
I just put it back in.
But you had to go find him and shit?
Yeah, I don't even – okay, so this is where it gets weird.
Because it wasn't just like you slam your helmet and everything was orderly. Tennessee's running on the field. The game's over. Handshakes
and that's the other thing, because a lot of people are like and I got a funny story about this because I even got chewed out after the game for this. But I got a story about that. But a lot of people were trying to tell me after the game that was a penalty.
Throwing your helmet?
Yeah, which it would be, but you are allowed an outburst of emotion with 0-0-0 left in the clock. Like, Tennessee had guys doing backflips. Like, that is one thing that I remember from the moment. I don't remember much from the maelstrom afterwards, except that I slam my helmet, I'm walking off, and this dude just hits this incredible full pads back handspring backflip. And I was like, holy fuck. What? Dude, that was kind of crazy. He was so happy that they had won, dude. A full round off backflip. So that was but then after that, I cannot for the life of me remember who was like, wait, we got another play. My memory kicks in again when we were in the huddle for the next play, where it was very much, again, the same confidence that we had at that timeout was back, and it was like, look, you've been given a second chance at life. We are better than these fucks. Go win the game. And what a badass situation to be in. It's like I talked to, actually, me and Jacques talked about this yesterday. But when you're a kid and you're doing like the basketball countdowns, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, shoot the ball, win the game. This was basically a football equivalent where it's like, okay, untimed down, 3 feet to go, and guess what? We're just fucking running lead. Like, we're not doing anything fancy. Like,
no shit.
Let's just fucking man up, bow up, and play some fucking football. And that's and our attitude was, fuck it, let's go.
Can you scoot like 6 inches?
I'm not going to name any names because I love all my boys. There was a missed block.
Yes, there was.
And but Ridley made it not matter. Ridley sidestepped one guy and ran over another. I kind of cheated a little bit because I pushed my guy so far back in the end zone that I knew he wasn't going to be a factor in the play anymore, and so I became a spectator. So I actually, in the play, in the end zone, watching Ridley like this. Like, I'm like facing him, and I'm watching the play like this, and I see him cross. And so I go sprinting backwards and then take off my helmet and throw it again, but this time in joy. And I remember just being mind blown, dude. I mean, the swing of emotion. So later in the locker room, after all this incredible celebrating and everything, and look, normally I want to be clear. Normally, when you barely win against a bad team, it's a miserable feeling. It basically feels akin to a loss. I know a lot of times we don't think that for the players, but it does when you have high expectations for yourselves. This, I think, did not have as much of that. There were definitely elements, like in post-game interviews, we had to answer all this, like, why do y'all suck so bad shit. But this was, I think there's a swing of emotions, and the second chance at life was such an adrenaline rush that this was a pretty happy field and a pretty happy locker room. I guess some of the coaches are still embarrassed, and so.
Well, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, and then there's all kind of crazy stories are told afterwards about like Miles was fired and all this stuff. So obviously the coaches feel like their jobs are on the line, and that was a shitty showing, right? So.
Well, Les in the post game did the whole. Well, they called the other team and said, "Well, no, wait, come on back here. And then they called us the winner. Whoa, what a game! Like that was his whole thing. Like he was, like Les was.
Well, that's why, dude.
He's a different cat, man.
That's what my old man. That's how I love how my dad frames it, where he's always like, "That is the ultimate Mad Hatter moment because you did something so inane and unorthodox and confusing that you literally broke your opponent's brain. like Derek Dooley saw us doing this crazy line shift and just assumes this is a part of some master stroke of genius that's going to close out this game, not realizing it's a miracle that we were set in a legal formation when that ball was snapped. Like Derek Dooley convinced himself, we got a sub, get on the field, get on the field. Next thing you know, they run 13 people. He used the move confusion from Pokemon and broke that dude's brain.
The crazy thing is that in today's football, you wouldn't have been able to do that because they would have stood over the football and allowed the other team to sub because you subbed.
Oh, whoa, yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
so now you would not have been able to snap the ball.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't sound in-game strategy at the time, and it remains.
No, now it would not. It literally would not work. But what a wild game!
I don't know though. People ran on. The problem was that people didn't run off. But whatever. So I do remember this. I randomly saw Coach Miles at the mall probably like 5 years ago, and I just said what's up to him. And I thought we were just going to have like a normal mall interaction conversation.
Yeah.
And he immediately started explaining the mechanics of the Tennessee game. And I was like, what? Dude, what? This is kind of wild. And I feel like the statute of limitations up on this stuff, but he just basically said it was on Croton. He was like, the offensive coordinator started signaling for spread, and then, I didn't want to, because at that point, if I get involved, then everything gets messed up, it's over, so I just had to let it ride. So, I don't know. But whatever. It was bad.
So who yelled at you?
So then in the locker room, Stud, who I'm very close with, who I love, and who coaches hard, right? Look, Alex Hurst left because he couldn't handle it, right? I responded to negative criticism like when I was playing Little League football, my old man used to anger me to the point of tears and then be like, okay, now go pretend like the guy across from you is me. And so I always responded to that. So Stud's a hard coacher. He would get very pissed, and I think he was embarrassed about how we played, and he thought that helmet thing was a penalty. And, maybe he didn't think it was a penalty. Maybe he just thought it was like a bad show or something, right? Yeah. Like a bad show, like bad sportsmanship or something. But
I'm just pulling the spinach and artichoke dip into the shot.
Yeah, he got pissed at me
because you threw the helmet
and was chewing me out. And this is when we're coming off the elation of the field, and I got pissed, and I kind of freaked out. I was like, what the fuck do you want from me, man? Y'all got to stop putting me in these fucking positions. What do you mean? Last year we did this year, we lose the game. I just don't want to lose. I'm just trying to figure it out. And then he was like, all right. He was like, all right. You're right.
It's like once you clap back, he calmed the fuck down.
Yeah. He kind of caught him. That's how you know it was nothing. That's why it's like I don't want to tell any of these stories like there's any hard feelings or anything, because they're absolutely not. He was heated in the moment. I was heated in the moment. Everybody's emotions were frayed.
Yeah.
It was one of those CBS games. It was like 4 hours of just fucking stress and frustration and physical battle, and then finally you somehow broke through at the end.
Yeah, I was sitting in the north end zone, and whenever the snap happened, I literally just walked into the tunnel and left. And shout out Paul Catalano. Paul Cat, rest in peace. Passed away last year. Awesome dude, man. Remember he owned Paul Cat's Liquor on Acadian? Owned Ashley Manor as well.
Okay, wow.
Anyway, awesome dude. He sat right next to us, and he's yelling at me under the tunnel. Matt, there's a penalty. There's a flag. It's not over. So I just stood in the tunnel and watched the Ridley run, and then just walked the fuck out. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm fucking so over this.
Then I was told that I saved Les Miles' job, which is funny.
We might see maybe not that level of drama, but drama in Tiger Stadium on Saturday. Tennessee comes in to take on LSU. It's only a 3-point line. It's actually vacillated a little. It's dropped to 2.5. It's gone back up. So, I think we've talked about this a lot. LSU's going to play a lot of games, probably every game except Bama, where the line is within 3 points one way or the other. I think it speaks to LSU's talent. It speaks to home field advantage. It speaks to how bad Tennessee's defense is this year. And I do think this is going to be a really competitive fourth quarter game, kind of like what LSU's seen already in both of their in all of their Power 5 games.
Well, the line tells you that, right? I mean, that to me, Matt. I've been weighing my pessimistic feelings against homer arguments, right? And like, yeah, I get it. It's really hard to craft an argument for a team that just threw for 5 yards in the second half and allowed Robbie Ashford to throw for 337. That team's going to be. I know, get the context, but I'm saying, but that's a hard argument to form that team's going to be better than Tennessee, but it is that line. And the fact, what it opened at 4.5, right? And that's where the money came rushing in.
And then it dropped, yeah.
I mean, there's just something stinky about that line. And what that line tells you is exactly what Matt is saying. It's not that LSU's going to win, but it is going to be a battle. I do think it's going to be a battle. We talked to Rick Neuheisel on Snaps today, and he actually chose LSU. And it was funny. His literal reasoning was just Brian Kelly. He said, LSU, I trust Brian Kelly.
So whenever I have a toss-up, you've heard me say this, I'd look at 3 criteria. I look at coach, quarterback, venue. Coach, I'll take Kelly over Heupel. Quarterback, I'd obviously take Hooker over Daniels at this point. Venue, Tiger Stadium. LSU's got 2 out of 3. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if LSU wins the game. I don't know if I'm going to pick LSU to win it.
I would still be surprised. I can't get myself to expecting LSU to win it. No, I can't pick them to win it. And I was watching Tennessee today, Matt, and I do think Tennessee's a fucking good football team, dude.
There's a couple of things. I want to talk about each side of the ball for a little bit here. By the way, shout out. We're over 300 concurrent on YouTube right now, 315. That's awesome.
Up,
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for hanging out, man.
Please take a quick second if you're watching live or on demand. Please smash that like button. And if you're listening to the podcast, thank you. Please subscribe up on your favorite podcast app and rate us and leave a review. We appreciate that as well.
I'm drinking shout out to Oliver Twist, obviously, every single week here. I'm drinking my cocktail of the week. Like I said, I'm not a cocktail guy. Been loving being a premium cocktail guy here. It's the Cosmo Kramer. It's citrus vodka. I wanted to make it's citrus vodka, pear brandy, triple sec, cranberry liqueur, and spiced apple aromatics. Let's see, we got a little spiced apple on the rim here.
So, I think offensively, I am expecting LSU. Okay, we've talked a lot about the 85 yards passing, the 5 in the second half. First thing is that Nussmeier was in the game in the fourth quarter, and they were completely not even trying to throw the ball. I think it was 2 for 5. I mean, there were a couple of drops, but it was clear what they were trying to do. It was run the fucking ball in the second half and get out of there, right?
Yeah.
And once they had the lead, that was clearly LSU's approach in the ballgame. I think LSU against Tennessee's pass defense, if they do decide to go be aggressive and throw the ball, they will make plays. Tennessee's pass defense is shit. Anthony Richardson threw for 454 against 400 yards in a college game is absurd.
Yeah, the way that I've been framing
it's absurd.
Now, you got to help me remember game flow a little bit, and I brought this up to Jake, and he bristled at it a bit this morning, like he didn't think that it mattered, and so maybe he's right. Tennessee did go up by 17 late in that game, and it feels like that's when a lot of that volume kind of cranked up.
But Florida was already driving early, and like they were moving the ball throughout that game. They had a couple of drives stalled.
They had some stalls and turnovers. So did Tennessee, though. I mean, look.
Yeah, but that's the ticket to beating Tennessee. If you're going to beat Tennessee, that score was 38-33, the Tennessee-Florida game. You basically have to have that in reverse, or like a 34-31. The ticket to beating Tennessee is you just got to get off the field in like half of your defensive possessions and then hold them to 3s instead of 6s. If you do that, you're still gonna give up 30 points in the game, but can you score 31? If you give up 31, can you score 34? And with their defense being as bad as it is, that's possible. I mean, it's very, very possible to do.
I guess the only thing I get confused about with their defense is they're a bit like A&M, where I feel like sometimes the athleticism and size and everything that I see out of the players like almost doesn't match with the box scores that I see at the end of the game. And I would be lying if I said that I'm not a little down on the LSU offense right now in terms of keeping up with an elite offense. Now, okay, and Matt,
a big part of that is the defense you're playing.
The way that I've been framing the Anthony Richardson thing, Is that, yeah, so he did, what was it, 450?
And
he threw for 30 more yards in that one game than he had the previous 3 games combined.
Yes.
And he hadn't thrown a touchdown.
The only other game that Richardson is over 200 yards this season is Eastern Washington. Okay, every other game he's thrown for fewer than 200 yards. And Florida's receivers, quite honestly, are shit. That is a weak point on their team. Their best receiver is Ricky Pearsall, who's a transfer from Arizona State, who was like Arizona State's number 2 or 3.
I know.
They do not have good receivers, and they still made plays. LSU's game plan, and Jaden Daniels talked about this when he met with the media on Tuesday. Like Malik Neighbors said it as well. They're excited about being aggressive, and I believe they're going to be because they have to be in this game. It's not going to be a game where you're going to be able to just line up and shrink the game by running the football. It's that you can't do that to this team, because if you stall out and they score quickly, you're down. And then you stall out again, they score quickly. Well, now you're down. Now you're running out of time.
Tennessee's last in time of possession. They don't give a fuck about time of possession.
It's like Chip Kelly with Oregon. It's just that you have just got to be able to get them off of the field somehow, some way in half of their possessions. If it's turnovers, if it's limited touchdowns to field goals, being good in the red zone. Like, think about the LSU Auburn game in 2019. Remember, LSU had like 3 possessions in that game where they were inside the 10 and came away with it. Yes. They got stopped at the 1. They kicked a field goal from inside the 10. Stingley fumbled a punt. Like,
but if that's what we're building our house on, that's rough.
But Tennessee's not that LSU team.
Yeah,
and that LSU team defensively was really good. This Tennessee team is shit defensively. My point is just, when you have an elite offense and you want them not to score 50, that's the ticket to get them to not score 50.
I will say this, outside of Vegas.
And they're an elite offense, man. Tennessee is an elite offense.
100%. I mean, there's just, you can't hate. Like, you can't, like, Hendon Hooker can fucking run and throw.
He's great.
The quarterbacks you saw this year, Robbie Ashford, dude, every time this happens with the Florida State quarterback, Jordan Travis, Jesus. Every time my brain starts calling him Christian Harris and then has to go to Jordan Travis. No idea why. I talked about it on all
the linebacker from Baton Rouge, went to Bama.
Met his dad last week. He comes
a great dude, yeah.
But no, I have no idea why. Anyway, Jordan Travis and Robbie Ashford can't hold Hendon Hooker's jock to steal a Cajun candidate. They can't sniff his jock. Okay, Hendon Hooker is a true dual threat that that throws the best deep ball in the entire country.
You know what's so weird about that too? Joe Milton was starting last year.
Yeah, see, and
it's so weird.
Dude, Neuheisel talked about that. Neuheisel was like,
what did they think they had in Milton that they didn't have in Hendon Hooker?
So you gotta love coaches kind of taking coded shots at one another. And so Neuheisel today talked about like how he was like, and how, and first as coaches do, he gave Heupel his roses, but then he was like, he should be thanking that last coach for getting Hendon Hooker, because remember, he brought Milton in. He thought Milton was the guy. Basically saying like, hey, sometimes you get lucky in this business, dude. Sometimes you miss, and talent evaluation's fucking hard, right? Like, that is proven. So whatever. Hendon Hooker is really good. Here's what makes me feel good though, Matt. I also thought that Will Rogers was pretty unstoppable and pretty damn good this year. And, well, that has borne to be true. If you look at Will Rogers' game log, the LSU game is a massive exception to the rule. It's like 150 yards less than any other game. He's thrown at least 3 touchdowns in every other game. It was 1-1 against LSU. Like, you shut down a Leach and Rogers attack that is smoking everyone right now. So I do have a bit of hope that, unlike Auburn, where Matt House kind of got a bit outflanked early on, maybe he's even been in a bit of a look-ahead spot trying to get ready for a Heupel in this Hooker attack. And it's like, okay, so one of my hopes is that House in that defense, which I do think is very good, is going to have a game plan that's maybe going to surprise Tennessee a bit.
So I think that, look, there were 2 plays against Auburn. You had the busted play for 53 yards or whatever it was. That was the first touchdown. And Brian Kelly wouldn't call out names, but we all saw the play. Ashford tucked like he was going to run. Both safeties came up. Sage Ryan thought he had help. He didn't, because the safeties came up and the receiver beat him deep for 53. And then the other one was Jarquez Hunter for 61 yards on a wheel route.
So the first one, there's no one really blaming the first one. We talked about it with, I always just get Matt Flynn to watch the critical plays Jake does and makes him basically like break it down with his matrix knowledge. And it looked like they could have been in quarters where everybody's got a quarter of the field. So maybe that was Sage Ryan's, or maybe it was even like the point is that wasn't actually any. That was a. It was a play where the improv route, which that was not an out and up by design, but basically what Matt said is that the coverage that was called, the out and up, would be the literal best route to run against it, and they kind of fell into it. So it was a bit of a lucky stroke. It was a bit of a lucky stroke for sure. And Auburn scores. So whatever. So I get it. You're right. There's a lot more reason to feel good about Matt House than bad this year. I absolutely agree.
He's been great.
And
I think his personnel matches what he wants to do. I think having B.J. Ojulari play the jack instead of having his hand in the dirt in a 4-3, it's a better option. Harold Perkins has been a fucking freak show. I mean, look, my thought on Perkins was he would come in and be a really good, like, athletic third down guy who could rush the passer. He's an every down linebacker already, which is stunning. I mean, we talked about it on Whiskey and Wine. He's better as a freshman than Devin White was as a freshman. It's not even close. I'm not saying he's going to be a better, projected, but like now as a freshman, he's better as a freshman than Devin White was.
Well, what's wild to me is they talk about how they're giving him vertical slices of the playbook, but it doesn't feel like that. Because one week he's like playing nickel Sam out in space. One week he's right there in the middle and he's rushing both on the edge and from the middle. Next week he's kind of the quarterback spy. I love him in a spy role this week. He's athletic enough to keep up with Hooker, and in like green dog situations, or maybe he has the back, sees the back staying in, he's coming late. Harold Perkins going to have a big role to play.
I think so far in this season, there's one thing we have not seen from LSU's defense. There's one thing. We've seen them against an athletic quarterback. We've seen them against a strong running game. We've seen them against Will Rogers with a good short intermediate passing game. The one thing we've not seen exactly is LSU, can your corners
That's a good point.
play man against great receivers? Now, if Cedric Tillman doesn't play, that's big. So Brew McCoy, if you don't remember, his recruitment was weird. Like, he went to Texas and then left before ever playing and went to USC and then left and went back to Texas and then transferred to Tennessee. It was really fucked up, and they had to get a waiver to get him eligible this year.
Yeah.
And so they granted the waiver for Brew McCoy to be eligible. He's a 5-star. He's awesome. Cedric Tillman was their leading returning receiver from a year ago. He had the tightrope thing on his ankle that Tua had a couple years ago, if you remember that tightrope procedure. So they didn't play last week, which is kind of, that's a benefit to them. That's an advantage, right? They had a chance to rest 2 weeks to get ready for this game.
Big advantage.
I don't know if Tillman's going to play,
but
but
loving the smell their own farts too much. But yeah, probably a big advantage.
But we have not seen LSU's corners against great receivers in a passing game. Like,
Very
can you
true.
just go live on an island and win? Like, when LSU had, if it was Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks, Dwight McGlothern, I'm like, I like my guys. I don't care who your guys are. I like my guys.
Who's Eli Ricks?
If it's,
Who's Eli Ricks?
No, shut up.
I haven't seen them play this year.
If you go back to 2019 and it's Fulton and Stingley, and I'm like, I like my guys. I don't care who your guys are. I like my guys better.
I like what we've seen so far, but we haven't seen anything
but
like
that's my point. Like, I don't know if those guys can win
I feel you on that.
this game.
I feel you.
So, like, if it comes to where you have to go provide numbers and help in the secondary because your guys can't win, then it leaves you exposed in the front, and then your defensive front seven has to just be awesome. And I think that's the strength of this team. But if they are out there for 90 plays, can they hang?
Which they're light. Their D tackles are playing well, but they're light, dude. The edge is not as light as I thought it was because Savion Jones is a legit player.
I think Savion Jones and Xavier Carter have both been really good.
Xavier Carter looks really good against New Mexico. I'm just holding off going too hard on him because it was New Mexico.
Savion Jones
but he looked great. But every time
Savion Jones had to play has been good. So I guess that's my point. Like,
but the interior is only 3 guys for 2 positions, and that's not ideal.
You could go deeper, but you're just going to an unknown.
Yeah,
right?
I guess I'm talking about in terms of guys that you fully trust. Like Tennessee plays 12 guys
on their D-line.
And they're all upperclassmen. I started charting today.
Yeah.
I got to like 8 different numbers that were playing in big times, and it was all redshirt sophomore or above, with a majority being junior or above. They got 1 starting D lineman. He's got 5 letters already. He's working on his 6th letter.
Super senior, bro. Dude, you know what's funny? Sometimes people say, like, hey, who would win in a fight, Matt or T-Bob? You hear people say that? Like, look at this.
Well, White.
Look how much bigger.
White also makes you look bigger.
It doesn't matter. But like, look, I'm not a small person. I'm 230. I'm 6 foot 230. I'm not small. Look at me next to you.
And that's the funny thing is that I was a small guy on the line.
I know.
I get a lot of that too.
I know.
I get like a lot of
what the fuck do you think would happen?
Like, you're bigger than I thought you were in person, because I guess if you're just by like 6'6" people all the time, you don't look
Dude, that's
as tall.
like guards in the NBA.
Yes,
Steph Curry's 6'4".
Yeah.
Steph Curry's 6'4". He looks tiny.
Yeah, it's massive.
That's because you have fucking aliens that are 7 feet tall running like gazelles.
Okay. Back to Tennessee. I'm trying to think what else I felt good about.
All right, we got 19 minutes left.
I mentioned, hold on. I mentioned Matt House.
Wait, real quick.
Okay.
We've got to talk about the rest of the weekend in the league and get to questions as well. So fire away with your questions if you're watching live. Thank you.
I've logged some, only the most recent ones though. So put it back in if you ask.
So get to your questions. Let's do. If you have another thought, go ahead, and then we'll do. Then we'll look at the league.
This is a bit of a weird thing. Like we said, the message for Jaden Daniels this week has been incredibly empowering. And it's funny that as we talk about the Jordan Jefferson, Jay Lee era, that the message has shifted so drastically, where Brian Kelly's basically saying, I want to throw picks. Like, I want to take shots, right? Like, because I do think that was the root of all evil in the Miles downfall, was just a hardcore conservatism, right? And now the only thing that worries me about that a bit this game, Matt, if you look in the SEC right now, these are the top two teams in turnover margin.
Tell me.
Both Tennessee and LSU have been elite this year. By the way, LSU 8th in the country, forcing 12 turnovers. Okay, you want to talk about that Matt House defense? There we go.
And takeaways? 8th in takeaways?
8th in total takeaways with 12.
Not margin.
Margin, they're top. I don't remember exactly where they fall in margin, but they're close. So whatever, it's first and second in the SEC. So recognize the aggressive play maybe won't pay off this game against a Tennessee team that's also been very disciplined and good in this department. But I still want to encourage it, and I still think that it will pay benefits long term. And who knows? Maybe it does pay big benefits this game. Just something to keep an eye on.
All right, let's look at the
And by the way, yeah, USC is a major outlier. Huge defensive regression incoming. They average a margin of 2.8 per game right now.
All right, let's look at
unsustainable.
Let's look at the week in the conference. Of course, Tennessee, LSU's at 11 a.m. Two other games at 11 a.m. Missouri at Florida. I still like Florida in that game. It's a short week for them, having played Sunday, but Missouri sucks. Missouri emptied the bag against Georgia. I don't know how they get off the mat and now go to Gainesville to play this game.
I tried to name one Missouri player today, and even in my new and evolved snap format, I couldn't name one. I couldn't even name the badass receiver.
What about the quarterback?
Nah, Bazelak. You know,
he's gone.
There. I know that's what
he's gone. Yeah,
no, I know that's.
He's in Indiana now.
No, I know. I have no idea. I don't know the quarterback, and then I don't even know the fat kicker. So sad. I think it's Melvis or Melvin or something.
All right. So the Ark.
So the point of that is I'm choosing Florida as well.
The Ark Frauds play Mississippi State at 11 a.m.
Mississippi State.
I am so excited to watch the Ark Frauds lose for the third straight game. State is, I think, State is favored by. No, State is 9.5. Oh, it's because of KJ Jefferson. They don't know if KJ is going to play.
Oh,
so if KJ Jefferson's out, then for sure that's game set match.
I mean, also this is so. Arkansas is actually the worst pass defense in the SEC. It's not Tennessee. Like, don't be fooled by the stats. Arkansas just had the incredible steroid shot that is playing Texas A&M. Because before the A&M game, they were giving up 350 pass yards a game. And now you got Will Rogers coming.
Okay, so isn't that also the interesting thing about the LSU-Tennessee game? So you can look at LSU's pass offense and say, okay, well, and Tennessee's pass defense, say something's got to give. Just like with A&M against Arkansas, right? Yeah. Like A&M's pass offense was awful. They were playing Arkansas. It was worse than pass defense. Well, something was going to give there.
Yeah.
Same here. Like either LSU's going to throw for 3 bills against Tennessee, or Tennessee's pass defense is going to improve dramatically because they're playing a shitty LSU offense. I just think LSU's receivers are too good. And dude,
good. I hope you're right, dude.
Look at the Brian. I know it's New Mexico, but look at the Brian Thomas play against New Mexico.
Hey, Brian Thomas made plays every time he touched the ball this year.
Well, he also had a drop last week.
Well, join the fucking club.
No, I get it. But that was when you were trying to ice the game late, and he had to drop. Nuss threw him a short pass. He dropped.
I guess I don't really remember too much Mezcal.
No, yeah, I bet you don't remember too much of Saturday.
Well, no, I rewatched the film. Okay.
Oh, okay, good. Because real time, I'm sure you did.
We're sticking to beer only from now on. Okay, it was a repeat of the Kentucky game.
That means if you're sticking to beer, then you're going to piss 6 times during whiskey and wine.
No. 1 beer per quarter. Just 4 beers.
I can't wait to see this. All right.
What do you mean? You don't believe it? That's what I did last year. After post-Kentucky, that's exactly what I did.
1 beer per quarter.
Yes. For the second year in a row, the liquor has melted the wax off my wings. I got too prideful and too hubristic. And
if you did not watch Whiskey and Wine Saturday, you could go back and watch it and see.
Don't go watch it.
No, you should go watch it. It's a beautiful disaster. But Kentucky was worse because Kentucky last year was worse because the game was a shit show.
Well, and I'd actually drink more of that.
And you drank more. Like you were pounding double mezcals before the game.
Yeah.
You were chain smoking cigarillos.
Cigarillos too.
Cigarillos.
Like inhaling.
You had a cigar during the show.
Yeah.
You were smoking legal marijuana. I mean, you were fucked up.
Yeah,
like,
it was bad.
You were the most fucked up I've ever seen you.
It was bad. It was bad.
But it matched the game, so it actually was perfect. Like the Kentucky game was a shit show. LSU got the shit beat out of them by Kentucky, and Kayshon Boutte broke his leg. Like it was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like T-Bob. That's what it was.
Okay, so last week you threw for 5 yards in the second half.
But you won.
That was basically my whiskey and wine performance.
But
it was 5 yards in the second half.
But you beat
we
Auburn.
still won. We had 3K concurrent viewers.
Auburn.
Dude. Yeah.
All right, so the Arkan frauds. How about the Arkan frauds? Your old Arkan frauds.
You gotta stop putting Arkansas on me like I've been
you're defending a bitch.
Championing Arkansas. Last year I was. Last year
you
was.
still are, bitch.
No, I just said they had the worst pass defense in the SEC.
You want to go back 3 weeks?
To what?
A&M.
When did I choose? I chose A&M.
I told you A&M was beating the Arkan frauds.
I chose A&M as well.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Bitch.
Yeah, no, I definitely did. No, man, I think Mississippi State's going to smash them.
All right, Auburn, Georgia. That'll be a runaway.
So
I'm not in all phased by Georgia's performance against Missouri.
Aaron Murray, for whatever this is worth, is heavy on Auburn plus 30.
Fuck, Aaron. I don't give a shit.
I don't. So what I'm saying, who would you take the cover here?
I would take Georgia.
I think so too.
That's quintessential. My school played a bad week.
Yeah,
I'm fucking off them. That's what that is.
That makes sense,
stupid.
Dude.
That's at home, night game. You just got embarrassed. They're going to zero in, and they're going to skull fuck Auburn this week. It's going to be awful. Ole Miss plays Vanderbilt. Ole Miss going to be undefeated when they come to Baton Rouge, bro. We talked about it all during media days. If they got past Kentucky, they'd be undefeated coming to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
South Carolina's at Kentucky. Nice bounce back spot for Kentucky after a close loss against Ole Miss. A&M, Bama.
I'm a little interested for South Carolina and Kentucky.
Why?
I mean, because South Carolina is garbage, but let's just see if Kentucky's ready to bounce back and handle business. Kentucky should have beat Ole Miss. I'm not.
No.
I don't give a
No.
I do not give. Okay. Should have is a strong word.
Could have. They could have won the game.
But could have with some heavy emphasis. They fucked up a lot of game-winning shit. I mean, I don't care. It's not like I didn't lose anything. I don't care. I just feel like Kentucky fucked up more game-winning opportunities than did Ole Miss. But look, I love it. Like I said, my biggest takeaway in the country from last Saturday was Ole Miss beating a top 10 team at home to move to 13 wins in a row at home. They did it with defense in a relatively defensive battle. It gives them 5-0. It launched them into top 10. These are things that would have been unfathomable pre-Lane Kiffin. So the fact that you're already there is mind-blowing and super validating of the Lane Kiffin hire.
Can Texas A&M beat the Fighting Texas A&M Class 21 hell out of Alabama on Saturday?
Dude. Those Yell Leader videos get weirder and
Bro,
weirder.
why do they keep doing it?
The best part is the last joke from the last highlight I saw where he's like, Starkville's just a tiny middle-of-nowhere town, has to watch a mediocre football team lose all the time. I'm like, is the irony lost on you?
It's you,
what
asshole.
What are we talking about?
It's you, asshole. That's you. That's fucking you.
Are you fucking, I felt like, have you ever seen the movie Bad Santa? When he fucking flips over the chair, he's like, "Are you fucking with me?"
20 years ago.
When that dude said it, that's exactly how I felt like Billy Bob Thornton. Like, "Are you fucking with me right now with that joke?"
Oh my God, Jesus!
No, dude. Alabama with Milroe, with fucking
it doesn't
Burt from the third row. Like, dude, Alabama's going to smash them. I could play
quarterback. Somebody asked me.
A&M's bad.
A&M's bad, and Alabama wants this game so bad.
Yes, dude.
Like when we were at media days, I remember talking to who's the big defensive end? 31.
Will
Anderson. I was gonna say Williams. Anderson.
Will. That's why it's Will Anderson. That's why.
I was like, I remember asking him. I mean, he answered the question a million times, obviously, about A&M and everything Jimbo said, losing last year, and he just was like, "We'll let our talking do on the field, or we'll do our talking on the field."
Okay. So that's interesting because
he was basically like this giant human in July looked like if I had given him free rein to go murder someone in that moment, he would have done it.
No, and that's funny because the answer, it was a Will Anderson answer that I highlighted that week that, like, was bone-chilling to me. And it was that same thing. It was basically...
told everybody, yeah.
I think he said, what was it? Like, that'll all be settled.
It'll be settled.
That'll be settled on the field, basically. Like, yeah, like... Or no, but yes, whatever. The point is, it was so... It's how, like, when the main bad guy in a movie delivers some, like, super evil directive just in a completely chill way, right?
Yeah.
Like, how calm and collected he was in delivering this line that sounded, if you just looked at the words, didn't sound like a big deal, but he was, like, saying, we're going to fucking rip their hearts out and eat them in front of their women. It was, I think Alabama's going to kill them.
All right, let's go to questions. Ben Boudreaux, this is interesting. He said, I have a $100 bet. Do you think LSU will finish?
My third biggest bet ever on LSU.
No, shut the fuck up.
Coming up this weekend.
No.
Dude.
I refuse.
LSU +3.
refuse.
Hit it.
I refuse to allow this. You fucking jinx is what you are. Ben Boudreaux said, I have a $100 bet. Do you think LSU will finish at least second in the West?
All
right, here's what I have to tell you. All right, here's what I have to tell you.
You got a little juice, but not much.
Here's what I have to tell you. So Ole Miss is the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is the obvious answer. Ole Miss will be undefeated coming to Baton Rouge. They've got Vanderbilt and then Auburn. Okay? So they're going to be undefeated, right? They're at Vanderbilt, home against Auburn. I think we all agree. Okay, they'll be undefeated. They go at LSU, at A&M, Bama, at Arkansas, Egg Bowl. How many of those 5 do they win?
It's tough.
I think LSU will finish 4-4 in the league. So does Ole Miss do better?
Can you be 4-4 and finish second?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like, does Ole Miss do better than 1-4 in those 5 games? If they do better than 1-4 in those 5 games, then Ole Miss will finish behind Bama.
Yeah, I think they probably.
So I go Ole Miss behind Bama.
I mean, no, exactly. But the point of that is you actually have more life for LSU than you would have thought a little while ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you got a puncher's chance, but no, I'm not giving you the odds-on chance, obviously. Scone T. Luke Holloway says, realistically, how many points can we expect to hold the Tennessee offense to? 24? I think if you hold them to 24, that's a massive success. And if you don't win that game, that's a huge disappointment.
I'll say this. If LSU holds Tennessee to 24, they win the game.
Okay.
But I don't think they're holding Tennessee to 24.
No.
I think LSU's path to win is hold Tennessee to 30-31.
31. I was
31.
Yeah, 31.
And win a 34-31 or 37-31 type game. I think that's your path.
Zaddy Jacques Cormery, ask Scone T, who's better in coverage? Tennessee's #1 cornerback or B.J. Ojolari? I do get, yeah. Look, B.J. had a pretty good pass coverage last game, dude. No, I mean, Tennessee's DBs are not their strengths, obviously. I still just have major questions about whether or not LSU can take advantage, you know?
Yeah, we'll find out this weekend.
That's what I can't sit here and say I expect them to beat them.
I don't think Jarek Bernard Converse is going to routinely win against Brew McCoy. Honestly, I mean,
but in the same way, I am excited to see this weekend because the corners have been good. Like they have been good. Ask Scone T. Reed Rule wants to know. Might have been
429 watching live, bro. That might be an all-time high.
Dude.
Did you retweet it? Did you retweet the link?
Cheers. I did not.
Retweet the link, asshole. What's your problem?
I didn't think about it, dude.
Piece of shit.
Wow, dude.
I got to do everything over here.
Look, man, I give you fucking.
You know what? I didn't either. I'm doing it right now.
I give you crass humor for. Oh, you didn't either. Wow, this.
But I made the post from the ESPN Twitter.
I made the post from the
ESPN Twitter. Who made the post? Who showed up?
Unbelievable.
Who showed up like right at the start of the show?
Oh,
who was here setting all this stuff up?
Look, man.
Me.
That ain't my job.
Who walks in
I'm an on-air personality.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You little bitch-ass motherfucker.
Oh, damn, dude. Are you pissed because you didn't fucking retweet the link either?
A little bit. All right, read the fucking questions. Let's go.
432 watch, though. Hell yeah. We love y'all. Cheers to all the wonderful Scone T listeners. Shout out Oliver Twist. I'm drinking the Cosmo Kramer. It's delicious.
All right, questions go.
Might have been discussed, but is Goodwin a go for Saturday? No, right? Didn't they say it was going to be a while last week?
I would not expect Goodwin to play, no.
No. Hashtag Ask Scone T. Animal facts. A tiger would kill and eat a crocodile or a collie in nature. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, fact.
Against a human, I guess remains to be seen.
A tiger? Against a human?
Oh, wait, no, a tiger, never mind. I was thinking of a crocodile versus human. Which even then, I mean, I don't like our odds. No, tiger would fuck up a human. That's
well,
right.
the thing about a crocodile is crocodiles run in straight lines, so you would zigzag.
Well,
and
just
you
don't
could
meet him in the water, right?
And then you would just like, yeah, exactly. On land, you're good because then you just jump on them, you press their fucking jaws down, and fucking rip out their eyeballs. That's what you do with sharks too. You rip out a shark's eyeball.
I'm never jumping on them. I'm just zigzagging. I'm gonna be like Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl
until
I hop over that
legit.
fence.
If you ever see an alligator or crocodile on land, just zigzag because they can't change directions. Straight line, you're fucked. But so zigzag.
T-Bob, fans hate early kickoffs. Does it really matter to the players? No, I don't think it does. I think the only advantage that I think LSU sometimes gains in a night kick, Matt, is because it's something that isn't always done at other places. It does carry with it a bit of anxiety and energy management throughout the day that you're not used to. But I think it's really infinitesimal on the whole. Like, I don't think it matters, dude. LSU's 8-0 since 2000 in 11 a.m. kickoffs. They've been really good at them.
Well, that's mostly because when LSU plays at 11 a.m., they're playing a shit-ass team.
That is true. This time
bullshit
you are
Mississippi
the
State.
team.
It's bullshit Kentucky.
No, I guess
in
Florida
2011.
would be the only one last year.
Florida's the only one.
Yeah.
Brooke Bordeaux said y'all are growing on each other. Bullshit, Brooke. I hate this fat fuck.
Oh, wow. Look at that. He might as well have jerked me off under the table. Y'all heard it in his voice. I mean, you can't fake that, dude.
Why would you say that?
Ask Scone T.
Why would you go so vile?
Because that's how you're feeling about me. Ask Scone, and you can, by the way, if you want. Ask Scone T. If LSU goes 4-4 in the league, what are their remaining 2 wins? Ooh, let me look at the schedule.
So I think LSU will. So all right, here was my preseason take. Although they would split October, so I thought they would win 1 at home. Although they beat State, which they did. Thank you, sir. I thought they would beat State. I thought they would split October, so win 1 at home, 1 on the road. They won the road game against Auburn, so I will pick them to lose at Florida. And I thought they'd split the home games, Tennessee and Ole Miss. I think they have a better chance, honestly, of beating Ole Miss. So I'll pick Tennessee this weekend, and I'll pick LSU to beat Ole Miss, lose to Florida, beat Ole Miss. I think they'll lose to Bama, beat UAB, and then I think they'll split Arkansas and A&M. And for the love of God, I hope they beat A&M and lose to Arkansas. Or win them both, which would be awesome. But
I mean, if we're looking for 3 wins, I hate that they're all, or excuse me, if we're looking for 2 wins, I hate that they are all on the road. But Florida, Arkansas, A&M is doable for 2 wins. And again, like Matt said, like, 1 of 2 of Ole Miss and Tennessee is maybe not expected, but it's
you are going in Tiger Stadium. You are going to win just like last year against Florida. You are going to win a big game in Tiger Stadium.
Oh yeah,
the value of that venue still matters, and you're going to you are going to win a big game in Tiger Stadium. I don't think it's going to be Alabama, especially if Bryce Young is healthy. But you can beat Tennessee or Ole Miss in that building, just like in 2018 when they beat Georgia. 2017, they had the rally against Auburn. Last year, you mentioned against Florida. You are going to win a big game in Tiger Stadium. It is going to happen, and it might be Saturday.
Yeah, it's just a weird year, Matt, when your remaining 3 Tiger Stadium home games are, as it stands this week, number 8 Tennessee, number 9 Ole Miss, and number 1 Alabama. I'm not saying it matters, but I mean that's a fucked up home schedule.
But about Ole Miss, their ranking
it's still a small sample size.
is because they're undefeated and they got a great coach.
When they're like, not that this
but
matters.
Look at who they beat. We talked about this forever. Like, Ole Miss was going to come into Baton Rouge undefeated, but they may still be an 8-4 football team because their schedule is so backloaded. So yes, they're top 10 right now. The 2008 LSU Tigers were fucking top 10 when they went to Florida and got the shit kicked out of them. They were number 3. Y'all were number 3 in the country in 2008.
Yeah.
Finished 7-5.
Yeah, but we ended up being so we weren't that good though.
But that's my point.
Oh yeah,
that's my point.
Yeah. No, I know. Look. Ole Miss right now, the only thing that gives me a bit of pause is the robots love them, like we talked about. Like the analytics think that they're really good. But you're right. They've only passed 1 test. And it was a test in which, again, Kentucky missed a few haymaker type of shots. But I don't want to play too much of that game because, okay, Kentucky takes the lead. Let's say Ole Miss doesn't go and take the lead, right? Hashtag ask Scone T. I don't really like if what happens to LSU goes undefeated the rest of the season, they make the national championship.
Well, he hurriedly reads comments that we can't understand.
He said, what happens if LSU wins every game for the rest of the season?
There are 429 people watching and only 146 likes on YouTube. So
hit the like button.
Please just take a quick second. Hit the little thumbs up.
Oh, okay, here's a question. Hashtag ask Scone T. Do you think the players-only meeting will produce positive results? From Von Bluesman. Do you think the players?
I need my headphones louder. I can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Do you think the players?
It's not you. It's the headphones.
Do you think the players-only meeting will produce positive results?
I don't think the players-only meeting matters for shit. I mean, I think quarterbacks and receivers talk all the time. I think if Jaden Daniels had said, instead of saying we had a play, I called a meeting, whatever place, if he had just said, yeah, man, we all just kind of talked about it and thought, like if he just posed it that way instead of saying the phrase.
But he did it.
Instead of saying the phrase, players only meeting.
But he did.
He didn't. But that's probably because he's a kid and
No. What I'm meaning is I don't think it's by accident this is being cast as a players only meeting. There's a difference with talking with the boys and calling a players only meeting. I'm not saying that it works out every time, but it is sometimes to fix an issue, it does not hurt to bring it into very sharp focus, right? And when you go to the meeting room with those guys and you're watching film together and you're being honest with one another, that's calling the issues in a sharp focus. I don't think it has some outsized impact. It's not making me change my pick, but I don't think it hurts in the slightest. Like, I would frame it as a positive. But I would frame it as a positive, but I can see what you're saying. We don't need to, overvalue it.
Are we done?
I believe we are done.
Thank you so much for watching. Scone T. Y'all are the best.
Shout out Oliver Twist.